Hello, welcome back to the Pompano Beach High School Computer Science YouTube channel. My name is Tina Chi, and today we will be learning how to develop algorithms using strings. So these are what we are going to learn today. Now let's start by talking about strings. They are object types. These methods will work with the string and not integers or doubles because they are primitive types. So let's create our first string, Sparky the dog. Now this is our data type, our name, and our value. So first, let's try the length method. The length method returns an integer, so we will need to create an integer variable to store that integer. So int x equals s dot length. When we do this, the variable s calls the length method, and basically the length method gets the length of this word or this sentence. So let's count it ourselves. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You have to count the spaces, so 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. This x value should be 14, and let's test that out. If you don't want to make another variable just to see how long something is, you can just shove this in here and get rid of this, and this will still print out 14. Okay, now substring gets whichever part of the sentence that you want. Before knowing what substring does, let's take a look at indexes. So in Java and most programming languages, the first character of the quote is usually at index 0, so we can count this at 0, and then 1, 2, 3, and so on. The spaces do count, so in this case, that is index 6, because this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Substring will return a string value, so s.substring. Okay, let me just write this out so it's easier to see. So sub s is our variable name and equals s.substring. Let's say we just want the word dog. So we have to count where the t starts, the index of the t. So we know that this is 6, this space is 6, so this must be 7. So 7, and then you put a comma, 7, 8, 9, 10. This number includes that index. This number does not include, we cannot put the index of 9. We have to do 10 because it will cut off from here out, but it will start from 7, if that makes sense. And then we can print out subs. The substring method also works if you don't have a second number, so this will print out everything from here on out. So we will have the dog. Now let's say that we want this quote to be all lowercase. We would have to do s.to lowercase. And since we are printing out the variable subs that is returned of this but in lowercase. And then pretty simple, to uppercase, we will have Sparky the dog. Index of will return an integer because you will get the index, and it's red for now because this returns a string. So s.index of the, oh, that's why. Okay, yeah, sometimes you just have brain farts when you code. So this will work. Change this to x and you will return 7. So now let's look at problems that we can solve by using our string methods and developing algorithms. Our first task is to create this. Let's start by declaring and instantiating the string, make it called count. We know that there's a semicolon. We can just put semicolon and then space count, but let's make it lowercase in this example, so we can use the to uppercase method. Now, how many? There are 5. So let's make a for loop. Int I equals 0. But in this case, since it starts at 1, let's just make it start at 1. I is less than or equal to 5. When you do less than or equal to, it will go to the value 5. However, if you just do less than 5, it will only go up to 4. And since we need 5 in here, we could either do less than or equal to 5, or we can do less than 6. I like it when it's less than or equal to 5 because you can see what variables you're using. We need a system out print. And since it skips it doesn't skip, it goes to the next line. We put system out print line, and then we want the numbers to print first. So we can use the variable I plus this thing, but we want it uppercase. What we can do is call the method of to uppercase because we want it uppercase. To uppercase, and then don't forget your parentheses and your semicolon at the end. And last check, the for loop, the system out print, it should work. Yep. So now we have to create this semi-looking triangle, and let's use the same variable we had last time to challenge us. So we know that there are 6 lines here and there are 6 O's. When we want something to increment within an increment or a repetition inside repetition, we want to use a nested for loops. If you have no idea what that is, please watch our nested for loop videos. Int I equals 0. I is less than 6 because we want it to repeat 6 times. I plus plus so it doesn't go on loop forever. And basically the same thing, but with a J. We need our system out print, and we want to print out the O. But let's try to use this variable and not count on the O, no pun intended. Which index is the O on? So we can count 0, 1, 2, 3. Or we can use our big programming brain to find out. We can do count dot index of and the O. So 3 is our index. So now we know that O lays on the index 3. So let's print that out. So count dot substring 3. And if you only want one letter, which is only one O, then 3 plus 1 is 4. We have this for loop, but this for loop will print out a rectangle of O's, not a triangle, because the O will print out 6 times in 6 lines. So we need to make this into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So one way we can do that is just shove the I value in here, because the I will increment, and since I is 0, we need to do plus 1. This should work. Oh, so the reason why it's only printing how many O's? I don't know how many, but reason is because we only have the system out print and there's no next line. So to easily fix this, just type system out print line and it will skip a line every time this loop finishes. So now we have a triangle with a 3 because we have this right here. So now it works. Okay, so this will conclude our videos on developing algorithms using strings. These examples are just the simplest algorithms out there. There's honestly so much you can do with strings and loops. You could create an automated grocery list, a POS system, and honestly, anything that has words. If you're still confused and want additional help, you can always email or text me. I'll be sure to drop them in the description below. And again, thank you for watching and feel free to check out our other videos.